So I called up the Sedona Valley Board of Realtors building, and I booked myself a room there. Now I needed to get some advertising in the paper, so I called up the Red Rock News. And I said, yes, I'm coming out to do a show, and I was wondering if you could just write something in the paper. And she said, I'm sorry, no. And I said, why not? And she said, because we have a very strict rule at the Red Rock News. We will not write anything about anybody unless you live in Sedona, you're married to somebody in Sedona, or you're related to somebody in Sedona. So I asked her to marry me. And her response was, well, are you gay? I don't know why everybody thinks I'm gay. I said, no, I'm not gay. I just want to get in the paper. And she said, I'm sorry, I can't help you. So I turned to my friend, Janet Hethorn, who I was living with at the time. And I said, Janet, oh, by the way, she was a professor at UCD at the time. And I said, Janet, will you give me $5 to go to Sedona? And she said to me, Paul, I'll give you $7 to go to Sedona. So I said, fantastic. So I got back on the phone with the lady and I said, hi, listen, I mean, are you sure you can't write anything? I mean, the show's gonna be absolutely free and I'm working on an arts grant from the University of California at Davis. She said, an arts grant? Yes. Free? Yes. Of course we'll run something in the paper. Fantastic. I have advertising in the paper. I've got a room at the Sedona Valley Board of Realtors building. And before I knew it, me and my girlfriend Audra had a packed car loaded with lighting equipment, sound equipment, and a couple of guitars. It's a long drive to Arizona, but we were looking forward to it. Why? Because it was the second time that we had entered into a relationship, and we were looking forward to the trip because we could talk. We were looking forward to talking to each other and just getting to know each other again. And we were looking forward to having sex. We were just going to pull over to the side of the road whenever we wanted to. We were just going to pull over to the side of the road and have sex. We were going to talk and screw and talk and screw and talk and screw and talk and screw and talk and screw. And then, after a brief and far from profitable layover in Las Vegas, Nevada, Audra developed a horrible case of laryngitis and a raging yeast infection. It's true. But we were on a mission. And the next thing I knew, we were over the Hoover Dam and crossing the border into Sedona, into Arizona, and it was then that we hit a blizzard. Not just a blizzard, but the worst blizzard I've ever been in my life. I mean, it was snowing so hard, everybody else on the road gave up. We were driving 15 miles an hour, and there was nobody else on the road. 10 miles an hour, nobody else on the road. 5 miles an hour, nobody else on the road. We were running out of gas, so we pulled into a gas station, and I think here's where I might have almost found my spirituality. For a while there, I think my spirituality might have lied in the kindness of strangers. Because when we went into that gas station, there was the most beautiful gas station attendant. She was the epitome of Arizona. She was wearing blue jeans and a denim shirt. She had on turquoise jewelry, a big turquoise belt buckle. She had a CB radio playing in the background, and I thought she was going to say, "Kiss my grits" at any minute. And we walked up to her and we said, we want $10 worth of gas and 2 cups of coffee. And she said to me, I tell you what, it'll be $10 for the gas, but why don't you just take the coffee? It's cold outside. The Java's on the house. It amazes me that you can toss a panhandle or a quarter and the transaction is meaningless to the both of you. But when a total stranger gives you 25 cents worth of coffee in the middle of a blizzard just because it's cold outside, it almost changes your life. So we got back in the car, 15 miles an hour, hit Flagstaff, turned right, down the road to Sedona, and we passed a little sign that I couldn't quite make out. And I said, Audra, what did that sign say? And she said, oh, it just said a little something about chains being recommended. It wasn't until later that she did admit to me that it didn't say chains were recommended, it said chains were required. But we didn't have any chains because we were going to the desert. So we headed down the mountainous road, and when I say mountainous road, I mean a mountainous road. I mean, it was this steep, and it was shaped like this, S-curve after S-curve after S-curve. There were no railings on the side of the road to prevent you from the hills that went down for hundreds of feet, and I thought to myself, well, great! Now I'm gonna find my spirituality. Here I'm gonna find my spirituality when I go over the side of a cliff and I die. Because I'm paranoid about driving in cars because I'm painfully aware of the fact that people die in the cars. So we headed down the mountainous road and the snow is falling down and the snow is falling down and the snow is falling down. And I keep turning to Audra and saying, Audra, I think we're gonna die. And she keeps turning to me and saying, honey, sweetie, we're not gonna die. But the snow keeps falling down and the snow keeps falling down and pretty soon you can't see the lines in the road anymore. So I turn to Audra and I say, Audra, I think we're gonna die. And she turns to me and she said, honey, sweetie pie, sugar punch, love of my life, we're not gonna die. But the snow keeps falling down, and the snow keeps falling down, and pretty soon you can't see the road anymore. You can't see where the road ends and the cliffs begin. 2 feet of snow, no chains, bald tires. And I turned to Audra and I said to Audra, Audra, I think we're gonna die. And she turned to me and she didn't say anything. At the time, I was convinced that it was because she was just sick of my complaining, but it wasn't until later that she admitted to me it wasn't because she was sick of my complaining, it was because she agreed with me. She thought we were gonna die. It was that scary. But we didn't die. We made it to the bottom of the mountain. The snow cleared, the sky cleared, and we were looking down into a valley, and at the bottom of the valley were the lights of my Emerald City, the place I had to go, Sedona, Arizona. Well, I think it's pretty safe to say that my knowledge of the climate of Arizona has probably been limited to that movie Raising Arizona and old episodes of the TV show Alice. Thanks a lot, Alice.
Used to be sad.